Welcome to Speak English with Tiffany. I am Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. All right, today we are going to look at two ways of expressing your opinion in English: the intermediate level way and the advanced level way. Now, for the intermediate level, there are three things that you need to remember before we get into the details. So for the intermediate, let's write it right here. Intermediate level, the thing that you need to remember is that it is simpler than the advanced level. Also, it is only your opinion. Okay, your opinion is the only thing that's important when you're giving the intermediate level opinion or expressing your opinion at the intermediate level. And you also give support for your opinion at the intermediate level. However, when you get to the advanced level, it is a lot more detailed. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3 different parts for the advanced level. But before we get into that part, just remember, the advanced level is more detailed. It also is a 3-part answer, which I just explained. And the other thing is, your opinion is based on other opinions. This is what we're going to understand and look at in this video. Okay, so let's get started. First, let's look at the intermediate level. Okay, remember, it's just your opinion, but there are 3 parts. Number 1 says, state your general opinion about the topic. Number 2, give 3 supporting points, details, or reasons. And number 3, restate your opinion one last time. Okay, so let's jump right in. So looking at number 1, okay? Number 1. Now, for number 1, you need to remember to be clear, okay? Be clear when you state your opinion. Also, you need to restate the topic, okay? And then give your opinion. And then give your opinion. This is very important. Restate the topic to let the person know that you understood what they asked, and then give your opinion. Now for number 2, which is give 3 supporting points, remember, I went over this step in a previous video, how to answer any question in English. You can click the link on the top right of the screen if you want to go over it or look at the video again to figure out how to do this properly, okay? So you want to find 3 clear and easy to understand supporting points. Remember, as you're expressing your opinion, the most important part is you want to make sure the person who's listening to you understands, okay? So find easy to understand supporting points, okay? Next, give your opinion a good foundation, okay? Give your opinion a good foundation. And finally, quickly, foundation just means good basis, okay? Good structure. And finally, this shows excellent, let's go to the next line, excellent thinking and reasoning skills, okay? And reasoning skills. The fact that you can give support for your answer is very good, okay? Which is what makes it an intermediate level response or intermediate level way of expressing your opinion. And number 3, this is important. Because you must always recap, all right? Recap just means to restate, okay? Always recap or remind the person what your point was, okay? So this is how you give your opinion at the intermediate level. Now, looking at an example, let's say, for example, the topic is going to bed early versus going to bed late. Okay, one more time. Going to bed early versus going to bed late. Okay, so for number 1, let's indicate it using the orange color. For number 2, let's use the purple. And for number 3, let's use the green. So let's get started reading the response. It says, in my opinion, I believe it is better to go to bed early. I have 3 reasons why I think going to bed early is better than staying up late. Okay, so for number 1, state your general opinion about the topic. So we're going to highlight that right here, okay? Now, let's move on to the next one. It says, first, science shows that an hour of sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours of sleep after midnight. In other words, you will feel more rested the next day. I want to pause very quickly. You see how I say right here, in other words. What's happening is I am restating or giving more supporting information for my first point or my first detail. Okay, let's keep going. Second, going to bed early helps you have a more productive morning the next day. This is because, once again, I'm giving more information. Second, and this is because you will have higher energy levels. Okay, and finally, the third reason is science has proven that going to bed early can help with weight management. If you go to bed early, again, this is just giving more information, that will eliminate the desire for late night snacking. So let me highlight this area right here because this is our number 2. And finally, our number 3 is restate your opinion one last time. Okay, it says, so for these 3 reasons, I believe that going to bed early is better than going to bed late. So I have restated what my opinion was. Now, if you answer like this is an excellent intermediate level way of expressing your opinion. Now, let's jump into the advanced level. There are 3 different sections for the advanced level. Okay, the first section is other opinions. Now, the 3 parts of this are, number 1, describe 2 groups who have opposing or opposite opinions on the topic. Number 2, give the basic details of each opinion. And number 3, state the reason or reasons for each of the opinions. Okay, so let's look at this in more detail. All right, so for number 1, okay, number 1, which again is describe 2 groups who have opposing opinions on the topic. Okay, so the thing is, it is important to present or give various opinions, okay, various or different opinions. This is something that is key to the advanced level because it shows that you know more than just your own idea, okay? And again, it also shows advanced, let's fix that, advanced level speaking and thinking ability. I mentioned this in my previous video where I talked about how to study English as an intermediate or advanced learner. So on the top right of the screen, you'll see that link, how to study English for intermediate and advanced learners. I go over this point also in that video, so you can review it there. Okay. And for number 2 again says, give the basic details of each opinion. Okay. Now, what you want to do is summarize, okay? Summarize the opinions, okay? The opinions of others. You want to summarize the opinions. Okay, so you can do this by giving general facts or points. Okay, general facts or points. And for number three is state the reason or reasons for each opinion. Okay, now for number 3, you want to pick between, let's say, pick 1 to 3. All right, so 1 to 3 reasons. Okay, 1 to 3 reasons, depending on the amount of time that you have to give your answer. Okay, to give your opinion. So depending on the amount of time you have to actually express your opinion. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. This is the first section of your opinion at the advanced level. Now, what you're going to do is look at this example and let's see if we can clearly see all different parts. Okay, so again, for number 1, we're going to use the orange. Number 2, we're going to use purple again. And number 3, we're going to use green. Remember, the topic is the same: going to bed early versus going to bed late. Okay, so let's jump in. There are 2 fields of thought on this topic. Now, 2 fields of thought is just an expression that native English speakers use to say 2 opposite opinions or 2 opposing opinions. You can also use it, okay? So again, there are 2 fields of thought on this topic. The 2 groups that hold these opinions are early birds and night owls, okay? So for number 1, just the 2 groups. So let's circle that right here, okay? And let's move on to number 2, which says the basic details of each opinion. Okay, early birds say that going to bed early is better, while night owls say going to bed late is better. That is our part 2. Very simple, the basic details. Okay, then for number 3, the reasons. Here we go. The early birds believe that going to bed early is better because they feel more productive, healthier, and more alert. We gave 3 reasons, okay, for this opinion. However, the night owls believe that going to bed late is better because they feel more creative at night. It is easier to work when everyone else is sleeping, and they're able to have more personal time. Okay, so for each opinion, we gave 3 reasons. All right, so this is the 3rd part of our response for section number 1. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, now we're in section number 2, pros and cons. Okay, number 1 says, state the strongest reason for each opinion. Number 2, give the pro and con of the first opinion. And number 3, give the pro and con of the second opinion. Okay, now looking at this a bit closer, this is what's going to happen. So for number 1, okay, looking at number 1, which it says, state the strongest reason for each opinion. Now, this shows, let's write it out here. This shows your ability to reason well, okay? To assess information and determine what is the strongest point and what is the weakest point, okay? It also shows, so doing this also shows deep thought, okay? That you deeply thought about this topic, okay? Now, number 2 and number 3 are very similar, okay? They're both talking about the pros and cons, okay? Pros and cons. So, by doing number 2 and number 3, it gives, okay, just this method gives the listener a clearer understanding of both sides. Okay, clearer, let's go to the next one, understanding of both sides. Okay, this is why this is so important. They can understand the positive, the negatives, the advantages, the disadvantages of both sides. Okay, so we're going to look at the example now. Now, again, remember that it's the same topic, going to bed early versus going to bed late, okay? So, again, number 1, we have orange. Number 2, we have purple. And number 3, we have green. So, let's get started. The strongest reason for the early bird's opinion is that going to bed makes them feel healthier. On the other hand, the strongest reason for the night owl's opinion is that it is easier to work when everyone else is sleeping, okay? So remember, on the other hand is used when you want to express an opposite opinion, okay? So let's highlight that. This is part 1 for this section, okay? The strongest reason for each opinion. Okay, let's keep going. Now the second part. The main advantage of the first opinion is that going to bed early does stop late night snacking. But the problem is it does not totally eliminate snacking. So we have our part 2 right here, okay, the pros and cons of the first opinion. Now let's look at the pros and cons of the second opinion. Looking at the second opinion, it is true that it is much quieter and easier to work when everyone else is sleeping. However, the problem is the next day you will be tired when everyone else is awake and ready to work, okay? So this is part 3 of this section. We've given all of the information regarding the pros and the cons, which now leads us into section number 3, your opinion, okay? So 1, state which opinion you agree with more. 2, give 3 supporting points, details, or reasons. And 3, restate your opinion one last time. So let's look at it closer. So for number 1, you need to make sure that you are very clear, okay, very clear on which opinion you agree with. And this is also actually very similar to the method we used in the intermediate level, okay? So to the see if we can write it, intermediate level method or response, okay? But, let's put the but right here. The difference is it is based on what? Other opinions. You got it. Other opinions. That is what makes this part different. And for 2 and 3, they are actually the same that we used in the intermediate level. Okay, so same as the intermediate level response. And again, I will show you in the example answer what this looks like. So here we go. Again, the topic, going to bed early versus going to bed late. Okay, so we have our 1, our 2, and our 3. Now, here we go. In my opinion, I agree that it is better to go to bed early. I have 3 reasons why I think going to bed early is better than staying up late. So I've showed that I agree with the opinion that says going to bed early is better. Now, for the second one and for the third one, they are literally the exact same as the intermediate level. So we're just going to highlight them because we went over it earlier. And the last part, so for these 3 reasons, I believe that going to bed early is better than going to bed late. This is how you express your opinion at the advanced level. If you have not received your free Speak English ebook yet, you need to go to speakenglishwithtiffany.com/ebook and get it today. This is the best English ebook online. There are hundreds of English expressions, vocabulary, and idioms, and I have produced so many sentences that will explain all of these expressions, vocabulary, and idioms. Get your free Speak English ebook today. And also, watch the next English lesson video on the left side. Remember to speak English.